Everybody, and welcome to 3-Minute Racket Reviews. Today's racket is the Babolat Pure Strike 98 16x19 Generation 4. In terms of the ground strokes on this one, I'd give it a solid 9 out of 10. I think it's an exceptional racket from the baseline. Both my forehand and backhand felt super comfortable, both applying big cuts of spin, but also hitting through the ball and trying to really flatten it out. In terms of the net play, I'd give this like 7.5, 8 out of 10. It's sort of an average frame at the net. I think the beam width makes it a little bit clunky to maneuver. Gets up to 23 millimeters on this taper beam, and in addition to that, the balance out of the box is only 4 points headlight. So it's not the best frame at the net, but it definitely gets the job done. In terms of serving, I'd give this a solid 9 out of 10. I think it's exceptional on both slice and kick, providing a lot of bite from that open string pattern. In addition to that, I think the flat serves are stellar. The top of the hoop is so powerful, but also has this like controlled element to it. Definitely one of my favorite serving frames ever. In terms of power, I'd give this an 8.5 out of 10. I think it's much more powered than a lot of 98 square inch frames on the market. That being said, it's definitely not as powered as something like a Pure Drive or a Pure Arrow. In terms of the control here, give this an 8 out of 10. I think for a Babolat frame, it is very controlled. Not necessarily the most controlled player stick on the market, but definitely something that you can go out there and feel pretty comfortable picking your spots. I definitely did feel like, coming from my player's frame lineage, I had to pick some bigger targets here though. In terms of the spin, I'd give this a really high mark of a 9 out of 10. I think in terms of players' rackets, is probably the most spin friendly on the market. You really can get underneath that ball once you get into the slot and grip it and rip it with no fear of it sailing long. Definitely impressed with the access to spin here. In terms of stability, give it another high mark of 9 out of 10. I think in general, the way that the weight is distributed in this layup provides a ton of stability in the upper and middle hoop. So you really can feel comfortable sort of redirecting shots without having to exert full force, and you'll still see a fair degree of pace come off the string bed. In terms of the comfort here, I would say, for me, this is probably a controversial opinion, but I put it at 8.5 out of 10. I think it's super soft. I think most of these Pure Strike 98 frames since the first generation have been soft, and in general are fairly arm friendly. And this is coming from someone with a history of elbow issues. In terms of the flex profile, I classify this in the low yoke. I think they did a really good job at making this feel sort of like a snappy traditional player's frame, like something in the vein of a Prestige with a thicker beam. In terms of the touch and responsiveness, I'd give this an average rating of a 7 out of 10. I don't think the touch is out of control or out of this world, but I definitely have a good sense of where the ball is at on the string bed. In terms of our will it lead category, I think this is an awesome option. Players of all skill levels, all playing styles can probably find a way to make this thing work. There's a fair degree of power, spin, touch, very well-rounded racket. And lastly, in terms of the cosmetics, I'd give this a 5 out of 10 rating. I think Babolat really missed the mark here. Very uninspired cosmetic, pretty much just white all the way around, nearly identical to the prior iteration. And thanks everybody for joining us on this racket review. We'll see you in the next one.